Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of All the Mods 10. In this episode, I think we're gonna go looking for bees and making some extreme reactor things. For now, Ivy's still in her cage. The induction matrix has tons of energy for us to be using, gaining energy, and look how much we're inputting at a time. So the way we're getting a ton of energy right now is actually from the turbines. I say turbines because there are now 4 of them. When you look at how much that outputs total with the 4 is like 1.1 million. Crazy. It's a very good amount. We aren't even using a tenth of that. My goal for today is to make an Insanite block. In order to do that, we also need to make like every single type of block underneath it. Tons of different reactor things. Pretty much most of these ingots here, we're going to have to make all of them. Along the way, we should probably just make bees, because we can make insanium and Insanite bees. So I think we go with this. I'll make bees and then we'll have bees. Crazy how that works. The first matter of business, I think, is that we need to make that blutonium bee. In order to make the blutonium bee, oh no, we need to make cyanite bee first. Yeah, we're going to need a reprocessor, and we're going to need like the fluidizer, I think is what it's called. In order to make the cyanite bee, we need to make a radioactive bee. This radioactive bee requires 2 different types of bee, a Cree bee and an iron bee. The Cree bee is really easy to make, you just need TNT and a regular bee. And then the iron bee is the one's a little bit harder. Crystalline bee is really easy, but the ashy mining bee will take a little bit of effort, which is probably going to be pretty easy. But let's go do that. We need some sort of like secluded room. Maybe the green screen room works over here? Yeah, this would probably work. How's the green screen? Probably not so good because of all the green I have. Here's our bee nest, and then we'll spam honey treats on it, then we'll catch the bee as it comes out, or it will go right back in there because it's nighttime. No, it's daytime. Why did the bee go inside? It like went in immediately. Here's another fun tip for you guys. If you have the comforts mod, so use a hammock. A hammock has to be put down between some trees like this, so I have like a little comfy little area. But the purpose of the hammock is that if you sleep in it during the day, it will become nighttime, or at least it'll be close to nighttime. Yeah, now it's sunset. There's the bee. It's definitely a nighttime bee, isn't it? Alright, obviously I don't know what I'm doing because I kept grabbing bees and kept grabbing bees and kept grabbing bees, and then look at this. I have tons of bees. And I definitely found the bee that I need multiple times. I need a Cree bee. Yeah, I'm just gonna grab regular bees from the Bumble Zone. And this bee right here I've selected to be the Cree bee. Oh, it's falling. We now have the bees we need. Let's go back. We're over here in the mess of all of the machines. If I throw my crystalline bee and my ashy mining bee, it looks like it's trying to make a tin bee. I think the result of this is actually random. Here's our 2 bees. Here are some upgrades. Look how fast it makes. Can you do something else? Copper bee. Come on. You can do it. You can make the iron bee. There it is. How do I make these bees not child bees? Okay, I figured this out. In order to make bees grow, so like for example, you need to pass it honey treats. So pass honey treats in here and then just put the child's in. Probably don't have enough honey treats. Yeah, it takes so much honey treat. And there we go. All those bees are adults. Looks like it's still just 1 sunflower, so these 2 will make your nanite bee. Oh, that was the radioactive bee and I got rid of it. Here's radioactive bee. Here's our 5 cyanite bees. I just spent a little bit of time gathering a whole bunch of cyanite bees. We need to get these bees in order to get these ingots. Instead of waiting for the Pokey gene sampler to do its thing, I'm actually just going to brute force this by squishing 19 bees. Oh, you can't squish babies, so we're just going to throw them in our squishing machine. I'm going to throw them in there, but I'm going to make sure that our lever here is off so it doesn't automatically sort our genes. Sorry, bees. Should have gotten way more than that. I mean, breeding those bees is really easy. Man, this is a lot more bees than I thought I was going to be squishing today. We're going to make our first reprocessor here. It is a 3x3x7 multi-block. Make the base here. Put our controller in the front. We'll output from the right. And we'll also have our input right over here, I think. Add the fluid injector as well while I'm at it. Does that complete it? What are you missing? In the center, instead of power, we'll have the reprocessor collector in the bottom. And then we'll have the waste injector at the top. There we go. Now complete. Now I need to pass in this bee spawn egg. I think it also needs fluid inside here, so I'm going to make a sink. Sink goes here into the fluid injector. We'll add our barrel here. Item pipe at the top. And then I'm going to throw my bees in there. Turn this on. Alright, we're getting the bees. There we go. It's one thing off our list. How do we make the next bee? So I figured out at least one other thing that we want to do is make sure that we're tossing cyanite in here to make the plutonium. I just used a copy paste gadget. We'll have these 5 just in case, and then we'll see. So this is really easy to reprocess into this. Maybe we could just have the 5 machines going at the same time. But anyways, what I figured out is that you take cyanite into a fluidizer and that will give you liquid cyanite, which when you throw into a processor with blutonium, it will give you ludicrite. And then from there, you can, you know, make the next one and then make the next one and make the next one. This will be a little bit of a process, but we should be able to upgrade our bee to ludicrite. In order for me to keep at least 1 bee of each of them that I want, I need to have 2 of these plutonium bees. I'll just put them inside of this here and make our plutonium block that they can feed on to make the blue comb. This is getting really annoying. Let me make a atomic disassembler. Alright. Yeah, the nice thing about this thing is that, like, if you look at my pickaxe, it like takes a second to break things, but with this pickaxe, it breaks them instantly, which is always nice. We are done there. We now have the fluidizer. Here we go. Cyanide input. This is on. It should now give us cyanide output. So here's what's going to happen, right? Using the fluidizer, we're inputting the cyanite. This is giving us the liquid cyanite, which goes into this dimensional tank, which is linked to this reprocessor over here, which has an entangled block entangled to that block there, so that we can pull plutonium into it so that we can click OK. Here's some ludicrite. I think from here we'll start splitting the bees. The way I'm seeing it is there's bees that get processed from in-world conversions, and then there's bees that come from spawn egg conversion. If you put the spawn egg inside of a feeding slab along with the cyanite block, it will still use this. Like, it'll still create the bee for you, so you don't have to worry about them coming out of their hive for anything. We can't make the next bee until we have magentite. Magentite comes from... oh, I need a reactor. Plutonium gives us output reactant magentite. Okay, need to make another reactor then. This mod is so messy because I didn't know what I needed to do. I kind of just put everything all over the place. Here's our reactor. Will you make plutonium? You don't have plutonium. I'm just going to entangle it from somewhere else. Just found out that you can breed the plutonium bees, which is actually very good. Maybe that means that you can breed the rest of them too. Here it is, the first magentite ingot. We have 1 block of magentite. Maybe we can just use this now. We can use this one. This one's an adult bee. Here's our magentite bee. Now I need 1 more block so that I can start making tons more. We have 10 magentite, or we can go feed our magentite bee. In goes the magentite bee, and the magentite block goes down here. And then from there I need to figure out what to do with magentite. I'm guessing I need to make it into a fluid to reprocess. Yeah, I figured. Question is, do I want to make another fluidizer? I suppose it would make sense, wouldn't it? Right, a decent amount of ludicrite here. We'll pass that into the next reprocessor. We're gonna run out of space here very soon, but I've made another fluidizer. This one will take the magentite, and this will output magentite. Magentite over here, ludicrite on top, and this should give us radiculite. This needs to get reprocessed into this. Rosinite is the next thing we need to make. I had to make a ton of magentite bees. Should start getting a ton of magentite. That also means that our reactor here is going to be kind of useless. Get rid of this. Figure out the radiculite bee. Radiculite bee is magentite spawn bee. Squish 1 more. Gene sample, we got them both. And here are 2 magentite spawn bees. Here's a ludicrite block. Put our ludicrite bees in here. We'll put this down. Here are 2 Insanite spawn eggs. We will spawn and catch and spawn and catch. Interestingly, we can skip straight to Insanite bees because we already have radiculite. Oh, I need an Insanite block. I've made myself yet another fluidizer, and I think this is going to be the last one. The next fluid we need is this verdium. Verdium will become a reactant, which will then become the rosinite, which will then get used in the reprocessor with radiculite and with benitoite. The issue is we need to get there, and what we need to do is we need to use plutonium liquid and yellowurium liquid, and I have no machine that can do that for us right now. I'm going to dump the fluid from this thing into the garbage. There we go. Now we're getting uranium. We want this So go straight into the fluidizer. Alright, there's one of them. Now we need plutonium. The same deal here, I'm sure. Turn the machine on. This will generate fluid. It'll go into here, which will automatically pull it out here and go in here. Yep, perfect. Plutonium, yellorium. Turn this machine on and we should get our output. Perfect. Then this input needs to go into here. Oh, fuel injection port, okay. Which means this one also needs to be a fuel injection port. Just to pass it in manually because we don't need all that much. We need 9. That's really it. Here's our Insanite. Bees, do your best. And here we are. 6 Insanite bees. Can't do very much with them yet though. We need to make our first Insanite block. I have no benitoite. And I think this is found in the nether. Let me go find some. This right here is what it looks like. Let's wrap this up. Yeah, there you go. Now it's doing the thing. And we need 8 of this. There's our Insanites. 1 bee, 2 bees, 3, 4, and 5. Now have 16 Insanite ingots. That means we are now gaining Insanites. Doesn't really matter how fast we produce it because we won't really care. I mean, we kind of do care because we'd like to have our turbines with this block. But now at this point we can just leave it idle. Alright, it's been a little while. I've AFK'd for a little while. I now have Insanite blocks instead of Enderium blocks like I had before. This is the best material for these reactors. I can't seem to keep the speed of the RPM faster than 380. It doesn't really matter to me though because I'm generating almost 30 million RF per each one of these 4. It's pretty crazy. What that means, I had to disconnect this because I wanted to show you guys. So we're generating about 120 million. I guess it's just 119 million FE per tick just from these 4 reactors, or from this one reactor that will never run out of uranium. It's literally free energy. Where does that put our induction? We are a quarter of the way filled and gaining fast. So I'll need to keep an eye on this and make sure that I'm adding more batteries or more cells when I can. All right. That being said, I think that's pretty good for our episode. It is a little bit of a longer one, I apologize, but next time we'll take it easy, I'm sure. So, thank you all for watching. See you next time. I don't know what just happened to that ivy.